Okay, so welcome to this workshop, which is about conducting a mid-year review for your Herbal business for 2020. And so this is like a pretty interesting year to be conducting a mid-year review, I think, because basically this year we've had a strange year, and the first half of this year may not have shaped up exactly how you wanted it to. And that's really why it is so important to really reflect on what has happened and just kind of take note of where we are, and so that we can move forward from here in a way that makes sense given the current situation. Because you might have made a plan at the beginning of 2020 with specific things in mind that you wanted to achieve, that you wanted to do. But then as 2020 panned out with, there's been some really big things happening this year as far as the pandemic spreading across the world, and then a lot of political movements and things that really do affect your business and also your values as a person. And so these things are just so important to consider. And so it's a really interesting time to conduct this review, even more so than usual, I would say. So I hope that this session is going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of questions to go through and just get you thinking about what's kind of been going on, what's been happening, and how you can move forward from this point in the most logical way for your Herbal business. So I have some slides and things to get started, and then we can move on from there. I just want to make sure that I have available the comments on Facebook in case anyone is watching from there. Okay. So that way we should be able to attend from there. Okay, great. So I will set that up and we'll get started. Okay, so as I said, this session really is about conducting a mid-year review and reflecting on your progress so far this year so that you can make the rest of this year count. And like, I really want to accentuate the fact that what counts for you is going to be different to what counts for someone else. So you're really thinking about what you want to achieve, why you have your business, kind of everyone has their own personal reasons for starting a business. And that is so important for why you're making it happen. And that, like, always keep that in your mind as you go about this whole process, because every action you take should be around like how you want your business to thrive, but how you want your lifestyle and everything surrounding that to thrive as well. So we're getting through the year very quickly. I cannot believe that we're already at the end of June. It's just gone really quickly for me, but there's been like a lot of things that have happened throughout the year, and like there's some good accomplishments, some things that kind of I wish had happened that didn't end up happening. But it's really great that we can spend some time to work it out now. So my first question is, how is your business progressing as we hit the middle of this year? It's really important that you don't wait until the end of the year to reflect. We've got this halfway point so that we can kind of check back in and think, okay, how is it going? Are we at a good point? Where are we going to go from here? And that's what this is all about. So here are a couple of questions just to start off with. Can you answer these questions? Is really the first question. So are you on track with where you wanted to be? So this depends. Did you have a clear goal in mind at the beginning of this year? Like, that's a really good point to start off with, because perhaps you didn't. Perhaps you were just flying by the seat of your pants and you didn't really know. But it's important to know, are you on track or not? Have you done the things that you wanted to do? Or have you achieved what you thought you would by now? Are you feeling good about your business? So all of these questions kind of depend on whether you had a plan at the start of this year. And so if you can answer them and you know the answers already, you're at a pretty good point, and that's great. But if you don't, it's a good time to make a plan and work out exactly where you do want to go from here. So yeah, if you do know, that's good. But like, why, what makes you know that you're going well in the right direction? Or if you're not going in the right way, why not? So again, these questions are just general, just to get us thinking at the beginning. We're going to get into the specifics in a moment. But yeah, I just wanted to start off with this. So first of all, the question really is, should you conduct a mid-year review? My answer is yes, everyone really should be. But I just wanted to go over a couple of the benefits of what a mid-year review really will help you to do. So first of all, it's going to help you to evaluate your Herbal business performance so far this year. So it's just going to help you to put that needle, that gauge, and work out where you're going and how you're actually performing as of right now. It'll also allow you to reallocate resources. So this could be something like if you intended to work in a certain area, but then the circumstances changed, and so you need to reallocate that. That is something that has happened this year. So for example, maybe you're intending to attend a lot of in-person events and markets throughout this summer, but you are no longer able to because of certain restrictions in your area. Maybe things are opening up. I don't know, it's different all over the world, but you may need to reallocate the time that you would have spent there to other sources of revenue that may help you. And so that's just important now. You can also take corrective action. So maybe you were actually doing something and spending time on a certain area. So it may have been maybe social media, maybe creating videos, maybe the product creation, maybe the behind the scenes research, the study. There's like so many different areas that you may have been working on, but they might not be the right thing for you in your stage of business right now. And so this is a good kind of opportunity to correct your course of action. So you might change it a little bit and work out exactly where you want to go. You can also refocus your efforts. So this is a similar vein of thought in that you kind of come back into your work with clarity. So I know after a certain period of time, we can start to feel a little bit like it's all repetitive, or maybe it's heavy, maybe it's difficult, the work that you're doing, or maybe you're just feeling unmotivated. But if you kind of take a moment to look back at what you're doing and refocus that, that clarity helps you to move forward in the right areas and like lead your business with more strength. And you also get to celebrate more success, whatever that means for you, because the fact that you're actually taking some time to work out how to make it happen and use the time that you have available in the best way, that means you're going to make more out of the time that you have available. And I know like this is really, really important for me as like a mother and someone who prioritizes family a lot. I have a limited amount of time that I can spend on business stuff, but I want to make sure that time that I do spend is like the highest quality and on the stuff that actually counts. And the only way I can do that is if I evaluate it and work it out and kind of spend the time on the right stuff. But that's the same as like money. It could be like the funds that you have available. It could be your team. It could be the space. There's so many different kind of limiting factors, but time is definitely a common one. So yeah, that's what this session is all about. It's about getting a grip on reality and how your business is actually performing. So we're going to be looking back at ourselves. Okay, we're going to get into the data and the insights of what we've at where we're currently at in our business. And honestly, this can be uncomfortable. It's like looking at a video of yourself or a recording of your voice, and you're like, oh goodness, I can't believe I sound like that. It's a little bit like that sometimes, but it's important to do and look back. But it can also be great when you look at those wins and stuff as well. There's both sides of the coin there. So it can be uncomfortable, but it is worth it. So that's like my warning for you, but I really hope that you do enjoy it. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment, and I want to check in on the comments and okay, we're going all right so far. And I'll just quickly check here as well. Great. Okay. Now, as we go through these questions, it would be great if you can write in the comments kind of a little bit about, as you're going, if you have specific thoughts that are working for you or not working for you. I want to find out more about your business and how these questions or how this reflection process might help you in your working out where you're going to go throughout the rest of this year. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Okay, so basically, just to give you a quick overview of what's going to happen in this workshop, we've got a couple of reflective questions to start off with, and then we're actually going to be working through the Herbal Business Diagnostic, which is a PDF workbook for you to go over the ins and outs of your business at frequent periods. And so that's kind of how we're going to go through this. But we're going to just start with these reflective questions. And so these are quite simple ones just to get you started as we think about how 2020 has gone so far. And again, I really do want to hear from you. So if you have answers to these questions, please do put them in the chat and let me know, how it's going. So let's start with the good stuff. And this is of like kind of the wins of 2020. What's been going well for you? So in the past 6 months, what has gone well for you? What things were better than expected, or even the same as what you expected if you had good goals? It might be that your sales and revenue are at a good point. You might have introduced a new product line. Maybe you're made progress on qualifications or study as an herbalist, so that you are further along the path to becoming a clinical herbalist, or offering those sort of services alongside products. It might be that you got your website up and running. It might be that you implemented a social media and online marketing plan, something like that. But this is where you really do get into it. Like, what has gone well for you? And please do list this out. Like, I really want to hear in the comments, like, what has gone well for you this year? Put it in the comments. What's gone well for you? What have you actually achieved? What's gone out there? And this might be hard for you. I know a lot of people are feeling a little bit frustrated with how this year is turning out, but there are good things if you look for them. Like, there will be. There might be a lot of things that didn't go well, but there will be something. Maybe you couldn't go to markets, so you got your website up and running, and so that's a win. So what have you achieved? And what do you want to celebrate? So these are just like some things to think about. What sort of wins have you had? What do you want to celebrate? And now, once you've got those wins down, let's go a little bit deeper and think about how you got there. What was it that influenced that win? What was it that got you there? Why did it work? And what contributed to your success. So I do have a comment here. I want to check what it is. So we've got some good wins coming in. So Nicole Richards said she received a $1,000 grant for my business from the SBA. I think everyone needs to know that there is free money out there. Okay, that is like a magnificent win. I just want to say that is absolutely fantastic, and I'm glad that you were able to get that grant. And I also highly recommend applying for grants. Like, that's just so important to actually do that. And there are different places to get grants. I know that there is currently a grant, it's like Grant for Plants with the Mountain Rose Herbs, and that's like, I think there's several $1,000 grants, I think it is. And I will post the link in the comments after this, but if you look it up, the Mountain Rose Herb Grant for Plants, that's currently open until the beginning of August, I believe. You can apply for that. And so there are several different things that you can apply for. You do need to create a video to get it out there, but that's like, yeah, that's a huge win to getting a grant. Nicole, I'd love to know more about what you're planning to use that grant for too. Do you have plans for how you're going to use that over, or if you've already used it, how are you allocating those funds that you've received for the grant? And we've also got another win of Yamea has been working on her website. I've actually been helping her do that as part of the online Herbal transition series. And she's made more sales on her Etsy website, signed up for an email list service, started learning about and getting more comfortable with marketing. And like, she is part of the Herbal Circle, and I know that she's been achieving a lot of stuff because we go through our wins every week. And I think that's a really good thing to be doing, is to like at least once a week, or depending on how much you work in a business, but like regularly looking back and thinking about what you actually have done well and celebrating those successes. It's so important to take joy out of running a business. I mean, we're doing incredible things, and we're lucky to be able to work as herbalists. And so it's important for us to celebrate these wins, and that's what we can do as part of this as well. We've got a couple more wins. So decided to quit my real job and start my herbal business in April. This is from Jennifer, who's also an Herbal Circle member. And so she started a herbal garden and is doing well. Okay, so Jennifer is looking for info. Jennifer, if you look inside the Herbal Circle group, we've already got a link inside there. Jean shared it this week, but I will also make sure that that's there after the webinar. So, and I'll post it in the comments as well for everyone else. But so that's like a huge step to like actually, take time away from a regular job and go all in on your herbal business. So that's already a win. And so now you've got this extra time to really think about like how you're going to make a bigger impact. And finally, got my logo designed. So that was Laurel got her logo designed for her herbal business. So that's another great win for this year. Like, that's that branding process and starting to create that that image for your brand. So that's great wins happening now. Okay, so keep going. If you have other wins, keep on posting comments, that's fine. But I am going to keep going with the next little part of this. So now onto the not so good stuff. So if there are specific things that didn't go as you expected this year, let's kind of dissect them, why they happened, what they were, and why they happened, because that's important too, to so that if it's kind of something to do with what you did, you can change that in the future or for next year, depending on what it is. And if it's something beyond your control, just kind of recognize that and be like, okay, that's fine. Like that's, it's beyond my control. I can't do anything for the moment. Oops. That was a mistake. Sorry, guys. Okay. So as far as the not so good stuff, in the past 6 months, so far in 2020, where have things fallen short in respect to where you were hoping they would be? And so, yeah, what sort of hopes or dreams did you have for this year that haven't panned out or haven't kind of happened exactly how you wanted them to happen? Or what do you wish you could have achieved? Like, these are all sorts of things that the possibilities that were there that didn't quite end up happening. So if you have things that you were hoping you would be able to do this year that didn't happen, please do let me know what they are in the comments as well. This is really like, we've had an interesting year, okay? So if you have had a lot of things that didn't happen exactly the way you wanted to happen, it's okay. Like, we've had people had to close their shops, put off launches, had to like completely change the way that their business is running over the past 6 months. And a lot of these things are out of your control. So just put them out there. It's okay. It's also good just to release the emotions around this if it's been a tricky year. So whatever they are, like whatever kind of not so good shortcomings that you've had, let's hear what they are, and also get a little bit deeper into these ones, trying to pinpoint why they happened, what did or didn't you do that may have influenced these things, and a little bit about how it could have been different if like, again, some of these things are beyond your control, but some of them are within your control. And so just thinking about the possibilities there and how it could have been different. So we've got a few more comments and chat coming in, so we'll talk about those things. Okay, so we've got... So just back to the conversation before of Nicole, who got the grant for $1,000 for her herbal business. She was able to buy enough herbs for free shipping and bought some more supplies. So that's like a great starting point to get those products happening and being able to actually get the products out there, because that's what, if you're a herbal product maker, a creator, and you sell products, like that's what the core of your business is. And being able to do a bulk order that, yeah, like she could get without shipping, and then that brings the cost of production down so that you can make a better profit on each sale. So that's great. We've also got Sharilla, and she has been trying to use free resources to learn about herbs and the usage. That has been a challenge, but I have made progress in growing and drying and powdering. I am looking at scaling. I've also signed up for the Herbal Academy Entrepreneur course, thanks to the discount. Great. That's I'm sure you're going to enjoy that course. I really enjoyed it, so I hope that you will too. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on there. So using free resources, and I think there's a specific question I need to answer there, but that's great. Okay, and so now getting into the I guess the shortcoming side of things. So Funke wanted to hire a virtual assistant earlier this year, but kind of put the whole project on hold because things got super busy. And I can totally understand that, because you have had a baby in the meantime. Funke is also an Herbal Circle member, and she's got a newborn baby with her now, so I can completely understand that things did get busy. But that's a great example of a sort of a project that you wanted to do and you couldn't do it you were busy, but it's something that it's totally possible for you to do later on this year. So that's a really good thing to make note of, so that you can make it happen in the second half of this year. So that's great. And on a similar vein of thought, Nicole was planning on taking the entrepreneur course in May, but was out of work and had needed surgery. And so there was like kind of lifestyle stuff that got in the way, and working out how to allocate the funds that she had available as well. And so that didn't end up happening. But then now it's a good chance to reevaluate and work out if it's what you want to do for the next 6 months, or if there's something else that you want to do to kind of refocus for the rest of this year. Okay, now a couple more things in the chat. We've got another win from earlier. So Funke said that she entered into a manufacturing contract with another herbalist. And so that means she's going to be manufacturing products for her business. And so that's a great, like, forming partnerships and connecting with other herbalists so that you can grow your business is like such a valuable part for a for any business really, but like especially for herbalists, because we have this our customer base is so similar. If you offer slightly different products or services to another herbalist, the people who come to you for your business are going to want to go to another herbalist quite often for slightly different things. They have a similar values and stuff like that. So it's really great to form these partnerships. As far as another shortcoming from, we've got, so unable to sell at markets this year. So that's out of her control, as that's for sure if they're closed for COVID. And not as far along in my clinical herbal schoolwork as I would like to be. Not that far behind, just due to focusing on creating an online presence, which isn't a bad thing. So that's great. I really liked that you included the thoughts that are going on behind your mind there. So like, first of all, the market's out of your control. You really can't do anything about that. Just be ready when they do open up. But as far as the schoolwork, so basically you have that one bank of time, and this year you decided that online social media and getting your stuff out there was a bigger priority than the schoolwork. And so you're slightly behind on the schoolwork side of things because you are focusing on that. And so I think the most important thing to think about there then is like, maybe track your time and work out exactly how much you're spending on online marketing type things and how much time you're spending on studying, so that you can allocate the right amount of time, or so that you just know, are you spending 50-50? Are you actually spending all your time on marketing and forgetting about your professional development? Because like professional development is really important for anyone working in a field like herbalism or something like that. And we don't have registration as such, as far as like specific requirements to continue being registered, but we should be practicing that, similar to nurses or pharmacists or doctors or those sort of professions that like they must work a certain amount of hours and do a certain amount of study per year to kind of maintain their qualifications. And as herbalists, we should be doing that as well, because it's such a vast field and we need to continue learning. So just thinking about like, have you not actually done anything this year, or are you just a little bit further behind than you were considering to be? And so just working that out is important. Also just going to check on here. So yeah, there's a couple of things that people pushed back, I think. So Tornetta had her website launch pushed back, and inventory distributors and shipping due to COVID-19. So like, yeah, I completely understand that these things happen. It's like, yeah, COVID has been a surprise, and a mostly negative surprise for most businesses. Not all, but most. But yeah, the important thing is that we are kind of doing what we can to bounce back from that and continuing in what we can do. Okay. So now I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to go back into. So the next little part that we want to cover here is about your feelings about your business and what you've achieved so far. So this is different from what's actually happened. It's just about like, yeah, how you feel about it. Like for most of us, yeah, we are creating our businesses because they fit our lifestyle better, and it's around it's creating that life that you want. And so that's where those feelings are really important, because that shows whether you're on the right track as far as the time that you're spending and the return that you're getting for that effort. So how do you feel so far about this year? How has it gone? So you might need to consider your business, how it's been going, your work-life balance, and everything that is encompassed in that larger picture. And so, yeah, this again is like, just, does it drain all of your energy? Does it light you up? Is it something that you just can't stop talking about? Is it something that you're not enjoying anymore? Like, it's just being honest about how you're feeling about it, the business side of things, but also how that fits into your life and what you're doing is really important. So again, if you're watching on live, please, or if you're not watching live, you can write on a piece of paper, but it's good to actually think about it or write it down somewhere. How do you feel about this year so far? And as far as what's kind of happened, what's made you happy, angry, frustrated, grateful, joyful, motivated, or something else? So the things that have happened, what sort of emotions have they brought up in the way that you've reacted to them as well? So this is just, this is a very broad question, but it's a nice one, because of it's important to think about what we're doing and how that makes you feel. Okay. I just need to stop share. Okay, so I just want to check again if we've got any comments. So here's about the feelings. If you have any specific feelings, let us know. I'm going to. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions coming in about how I can create a consistent online presence. Okay, that's a great question, Laurel. There are a lot of resources around this. I honestly think the most important thing for creating a consistent online presence is to do it. So to actually spend a little bit of time and do it. So this could be around, so if that's a focus for you for the rest of this year, for the rest of 2020, you might be allocating a certain amount of time per week to focus on that online presence. And there's a little bit of planning that you would do at the beginning of that, as far as like working out what platforms that would make the most sense to do. Like, I think for herbalists, Instagram or YouTube are ones that make a lot of sense, as far as they if you can do video, YouTube is great, but Instagram is a great visual platform to communicate your business and herbs, because herbs are beautiful, so that's why it's a great platform there. But you would just want to spend a little bit of time to get a general idea of where you want to spend time working, and then do it. And that's the most important thing for a consistent online presence, is to like scheduling time. Say it doesn't have to be that much, just like a couple of hours per week would be enough to start, but to try it out and do it consistently, and then do it. And like, really, there is we have resources, and if you can find stuff online, but I would recommend trying to create an online presence. We have another question. Which online source would be best for our business to have an online presence? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Okay, so I did just kind of mention that a little bit. I think Instagram is a great one for herbalists because it's easy to take photos, plants are beautiful, and it's a visual platform. So it's a great, and there is quite a big herbal presence on Instagram anyway. That said, it does depend on what your personal strengths are and how you want to use your audience. So if you are comfortable and okay at creating videos, YouTube is a great one. Also because there's a little bit less content, so it's more easily found by other people, but it's searchable on Google, so people will find your videos. And it's also, and I like video is a good platform to use for plants and herbalism. So like, if you're comfortable with the video, I would recommend getting some videos on YouTube, because like your stuff is going to show up on Google as the that side of things. But it depends on what you actually want to achieve. So if it's if you are like for products, like you have a product shop, like Instagram is a nice one that works because of people are kind of trained to look on Instagram and to click through and to actually purchase. So that's a good one. Facebook is also good, but it's more, I would say that's more for community and like the Facebook group side of things. And I feel like Facebook would be more useful for if you have online courses or workshops that you run, whereas for products, Instagram is more, but you can make any of them work for you, but there's just some general rules, I guess, that can help you work out which platforms make the most sense. But if you, yeah, like Instagram is a great one to start off with. And if you're comfortable with video, I would really recommend putting some videos on YouTube, and also putting the same videos on Facebook, because it doesn't take much more energy. And the same goes for Instagram. If you put it on Instagram, you can just put your images on Facebook as well. Okay. So I think that's good at the moment. All right. I'm just going to share my screen once more. Okay. So what I wanted to bring up now, I'm just going to have a sip of water, just a moment. What I wanted to bring up now is the Herbal Business Diagnostic. And so this is like it's quite a comprehensive document. It's this one, which is like, it's a 27-page questionnaire to help you evaluate your herbal business. And you really can use this at any point throughout your business. It helps you to reflect on where you're currently at, and create an action plan for the future. And so it really does just go through like the kind of the products you offer and rating the different parts of your business and things like this. So I'm just going to go through this quickly. But I wanted, because what we're going to do for the rest of this workshop, we've got about half an hour left, I believe. Or a little bit less. We might have to go through it a bit quicker. What we're going to do for the rest of this workshop is go through the different phases of this Herbal Business Diagnostic, so that you can keep on reflecting, because so far we've done some pretty general questions, and now we're going to get into the real specifics of it. And so just to the Herbal Business Diagnostic is a low-cost product from Herbal Entrepreneur. It's only $17, and you can get the whole questionnaire and everything that comes with it. And if you're an Herbal Circle member, it's automatically included as a part of your membership as well. So there's two different ways to get it. But otherwise, we are going to go through the questions now anyway, so you can go through the reflective process as well. It's not that you must purchase the product. I want you to get the most out of this workshop. But yeah, if you want to purchase, it's $17 on the website. So basically how the Herbal diagnostic works, there's 4 main phases. So the first phase is around getting the data of your current position in the recent course to like really get a grip on reality, not what you think is happening, but the actual reality, and see how your business is actually performing. Then we've got phase 2, which is further insights. And this is, again, getting a little bit more into that emotional side of things and how you feel about where you are and where you want to head in the future. And then phase 3 is looking ahead. So being intentional about what you want to achieve. And so seeing as this is the mid-year review, we're going to be looking at the second 6 months of 2020 and what sort of things, what opportunities are there for you that could work for the rest of this year to make it a real success for you. And finally, the 4th phase is your action plan. So this is like creating that rock solid plan that you can follow so that you can work on what needs to be done and allocate the resources, whether that be time, money, or team member, like manpower, woman power, person power, and doing what needs to be done. So the first phase is getting the data. And this is the biggest phase. It's like there are many, many questions inside. If we look back at the diagnostic, it's the majority of this. It's like the first 15 pages is all around getting the data. So the first thing of getting the data is what products or services that you've offered so far this year. So we want to just like list out all of the ways that you actually bring in revenue as a part of your business. And so there might be a lot, there might be just a couple of ways. Like if you're a clinical herbalist, it might be that you just have your consults and that's all there is. If you have many different products, you'd want to list them out separately or maybe as a part of a line so that you can start to see which products are more successful and stuff like that as well. So this is part of the business diagnostic. So you write down the products and services here. And then you actually want to rate the different areas of your products. And so this is around like, do you have a method to your madness when creating products? So do you actually research what your customers want before you make it, or do you just make it and hope that they want it? So that's what you would rate on a scale of 1 to 10 here. And how would you create the quality of your product formulations, or if you're a clinical herbalist or a farmer, your herbs or whatever your products, I guess, is the important thing there. And so you're rating that. So we're rating your product formulation quality, that research, the reach to customers, the conversion to a customer. So this is, I'm going to go back to here. I think it's actually better to go through here. So if you have other areas to rate, you can rate here as well. But the most important thing for this workshop right now is this here, listing out the products and services that you have that currently make a profit, and how successful each one of those are for you. So I would love to see in the comments now as well, I would like to see a number of how many different ways you have of generating an income. So this could be if you have online courses, workshops, if you have products, different product lines, how many different products do you have that someone has bought in the last 6 months? So how many different income sources do you have? That's what my question is. And if you want to list them out what they are, feel free, but Jennifer is asking, can you email us the Herbal Business Diagnostic? And yes, Jennifer, I can. It's actually in your Herbal Cellular Pool members area already, but I will get that to you after this. We've also got a couple of other questions. So Laurel was asking, what about Pinterest, when we were talking about the online platforms? Pinterest is another great one. That's similar to Instagram as far as the visual side of things, visually pleasing, and it's great. I do feel like Instagram is more trained to buy than Pinterest, but it's still worth it. So if you, it's about choosing one platform and really just going all out and doing it really well. Tornado also just had a question about what's your thoughts on content creation calendars. I think that's great. It really does help to be consistent and to work it out. I do think it depends on what type of person you are. As far as personally, I find it difficult to schedule too far in advance. I prefer to schedule weekly when I'm focusing on social media. So I would pick a day of the week that I'm going to schedule for 2 weeks in advance maximum for me, because I like to get inspiration and see feedback from people and then post from there. But some people do it for months in advance. If you're someone who's really organized like that, go for it and do it. But don't feel bad if you're not someone like that and you do it on a weekly basis, because that works for me when I do want to do something consistently. It works better like that for me because I work like that. But it's about working out what works for you. But content creation calendars do definitely work. And if you are someone like me who does it on a slightly more live basis but still scheduled, I really would recommend having a content bank somewhere. So this is I keep a spreadsheet of ideas. So images that I could use and captions that I can have, so that if I'm kind of drawing a blank, or maybe there's a personal conflict that's going on in that time, I can just draw from my content bank and put it in there. So that's definitely important. So Gina has two. She's got products and classes. So Gina, can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Do you have more than one type of class? Do you have more than one type of products? And also what's your allocation there? What do are the products or the classes the bigger portion of your business? Okay. All right, that's good. Now, okay. So I'm going to share my screen once again once I've got one more question. Met customers' demand by creating a new product for Steam. Oh, great. That's great. We'll share screen again. All right, so going through this, I did have this on the slides, but I actually think it's more useful to go through the actual diagnostic because it's presented nicer. And so once you do have those products listed out, rate again on a scale of 1 to 10 what that product offering, how happy you are with it. And this really is just to get a little bit of a feel on how you're going, so that you can see what are your weak and your strong points as you go. Okay, so that's product offerings. Then we're going to go into sales and marketing. So the sales and marketing side of things is what I've had a lot of questions coming up about, content calendar, which platforms to focus on. And I think this is a little bit an offshoot of the whole COVID dilemma, that people are starting to realize they need other avenues of getting out there to customers apart from just attending markets. And so especially online sales and marketing is becoming a more important aspect of your business right now. And so this is really important to rate. So in the last 6 months, how would you rate your reach to potential customers? So what new people have found your business as a result of the way that you market your business? So it might be on social media, it might be through, perhaps you partner with other professionals and you do referrals to each other. It usually could have been in-person events, or maybe at the beginning of this year it was. but how would you rate your reach to potential customers? And how would you rate your ability to convert them into actual customers? So someone who follows you on Instagram versus someone who actually purchases your product. So how is that process going? So just rating those things starts to get you a bit of an idea of what you're already doing well and what you really need to work on. So how would you rate your follow-up system? So this is as far as if you have customers, do you have some sort of process in place to follow up with them and remind them to purchase again? So this could be a part of your email system. I know that we talked about this at the Herbal Entrepreneur Conference with Sarah Colbert, that she automates about a month after a purchase, that she automates a referral. And so she actually gets testimonials from her customers, and she rewards them as well with, I think, discounts on future products or something like this, or maybe a discount code, or there's different ways that you can work with it. But having some sort of follow-up after people purchase is a great way to increase customer retention. And so like that draws into the next question as like the frequency of purchase. Do your customers come back and buy from you again? Do you even know your customers? So if you use a platform like Etsy, they tend to actually have that data around who your customers are. If you send it out, you obviously do as well. But it's important to think about that. Like, are your customers happy? Are they coming back to you and purchasing again when their products run out? Or is it kind of more a once-off thing? What's that word of mouth about your business? Are people saying good things? Yeah, how's that? So rate that. And also your business branding. So the message that your brand gets out there. So the presentation, your website, we want to be rating each of these areas. And at the moment, just give it a bit of that first initial, what you think, just circle it, work it out. And we're going to come back later to work out what's the most important part to work on for the rest of this year. So your overall marketing message, how happy you are with that. Your customer service, your customer experience. So what do your customers say about your business? So like rating about that as well is really important. Then the next part of this data is the systems and processes. So this is around about like how efficient or how much stuff that you can actually do or how much you accomplish with the resources that you have. So you have a limited amount of time and money, but we kind of vary in how much we actually do. And so how would you rate your overall efficiency? Could you do more with what you have, or are you happy with where you're at now? What about your good manufacturing practices? Are you confident with what you're doing there, or do you need to revise that and go a little bit deeper into the records that you're keeping for your products? And quality control procedures, that's linked to the GMPs, as far as just making sure that your products are up to standards in your region there. Your stock and product holding system. So this is something that as you're growing, it might get a little bit out of control if you're getting like a lot of stock in, or perhaps you need more cupboards, maybe you need more space, maybe you need to upgrade your kitchen. All of this sort of stuff is important to consider. Information filing system, your ability to formulate and manufacture new products. So this may or may not be important for you. So if it's not important, just scratch it. But if you're creating new products, is it an easy process for you to, create the labels, make the formulation, make the records that you need? How would you rate your ability to do that? And then also your process of getting new supplies and equipment and fulfilling orders in a timely manner so that you keep your customers happy. And finally, how would your customers rate your performance? So that's just like, this is a really like behind the scenes, the delivery of your business. How does that actually work? So these are all really, really important questions to think about as far as, what's going on and what you can do. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go back over here. So now let's get into the accounting and financials. So the numbers behind your business. And so ideally, you already have an idea of these. I know that a lot of businesses don't. They get to the end of the year and they suddenly scramble to work out how much they've made and get the things that they need to their accountant to so that they can pay taxes. But I really, really, really would recommend doing a bit of an accounting overview at least once per month, so that hopefully by this point at mid-year, you have some sort of benchmark to look at and to work out if you're on track for what you wanted to earn this year, and or if there are kind of some changes that need to be made. Like maybe you're doing well, maybe you're doing less well, maybe your expenses are higher than they should be considering the income coming in and things like that. So what you need to really know your numbers here is the total revenue, the expenses, and the profit. So the total revenue is the money coming in. So this is like what you actually get from customers when you sell a product, when they pay for a consultation, when they sign up for a course or a workshop, depending on what you offer as an herbalist. So that's the revenue. Then you need to think about your expenses, because they're the two things that you can kind of influence, because if your revenue is not as high as you're hoping it needs to be, you may need to spend some more time on the sales and marketing aspects of your business, which tends to be the most important aspect when you're growing a business. It's about getting your business out there and really marketing what you have so that people know about it and can benefit from what you have to offer. There's a revenue. But if it's not going that well, you really do need to be more careful with your expenses and how you're investing in your business. There are some good investments and there are some investments that are that can be better. And obviously the profit is the difference between the total revenue and expenses. And that profit is what you take home or what you invest back into your business later on. But that those three things you really should be aware of. And so what I would like to know from you now is, as far as that goes, where are people standing as far as their financials and accounting? You don't have to give me numbers. I would rather just know, are you on track? Are you behind? Or are you ahead? Like this, give a bit of a general idea of where you're currently standing at this point in 2020. So we have a good question about how do I find out what a realistic and good conversion rate would be for herbal products? That's actually a really good question, and I don't have a hard answer for that. Because I know for online products, I'm not actually sure what that I would I have not had to search that before. I would start with Googling it, because just to see what it is, or maybe not necessarily herbal products, but you might be able to look at the conversion rates of natural cosmetics, or depending what you sell, but a similar type of thing. So it could also be dietary supplements or something like that. But I would start with Googling it, because often there are average conversion rates for that. But that's actually a good question for us to open up a discussion between us. So if anyone does know their conversion rate, I'm assuming you're meaning a conversion rate from people coming to your website and purchasing, is that correct? I'm assuming. But because there's different parts of the funnel, obviously there's like your followers becoming part of your email list, and then the conversion rate from your email list to your products. But that's a really good question. We also have another question: how can I join the Facebook group? So we actually have two communities as part of Herbal Entrepreneur. So there's like a larger, wider community, the Herbal Entrepreneur group, and that one is free for anyone to join. And I would recommend you join that, because that's where we have like questions, and like this sort of thing is broadcasted live in there. And so that's free to join. It's just Herbal Entrepreneur. If you search in Herbal Entrepreneur on Facebook, that'll come up. And you can also sign up for the email list for Herbal Entrepreneur, and you'll get updates when there's stuff like this on as well, if you're not already part of that. And then there's also our members community, which is the Herbal Circle, and that's actually a paid subscription. It's currently $25 per month, and flexible. So you can join for a month, you can join for a couple of months, anytime. Just kind of email me if you want out, and that's fine. But that's where you get the Herbal Business Diagnostic, and also you get access to other bonuses and like resources. Basically anything that's part of Herbal Entrepreneur you get access to. But if you would like to join that, I'll put the link in the comments as well. But you can join up. If you go to Herbal Entrepreneur Products, it's there, the Herbal Circle, and then you get all the details to join the group there. Okay, as far as the okay, so going back to the products and classes thing, so Gina was saying income generation is in the hair and skincare products, 20%, and coaching 80%. So the vast majority of the income there is actually the coaching, and there's that products there that make up 20%. And so like, this is an interesting thing there. I would like to also go deeper into that as far as like, the time that you spend, is that the same as those, the revenue coming back at you? So do you spend 80% of your time on the coaching, or do you spend more time on the products, even though it makes less income? Because often that is the case. We spend more time working on less profitable products. And sometimes that's actually okay. But it's just important to be aware of that. Like the, not related to business, but when I was in school, chemistry was my favorite subject, and I would spend a lot more time studying chemistry, but my marks were lower than physics. I got better marks in physics, and I didn't like physics, but I was just good at it. But it came in, the results came in better, even though the time was different. But it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, I enjoyed studying chemistry. That's why I spend more time studying chemistry. But it's just important to be aware of that, so that you know that. So yeah, and they've got a few other people are playing catch up when tax season comes. Yes. And so Gina is ahead of what she was planning to be for 2020. That's great. That's like a really great position to be in, because you can either adjust your goals to take a step up, or you can plan in time off. That's yeah, like that's what I'm planning to do for this year. For example, I'm actually expecting a baby next month. And so I kind of planned this year that my heavy time was the beginning of this year. That's why the conference was at the beginning of this year. And the rest of this year is very much towards just being part of the Herbal Circle community, because that's what I like doing. And apart from that, the time is going to be a lot lower. I've got a couple more comments coming in. So that's what I mean. Like, if you're at a good point, you can decide where to allocate those extra resources. Do you want to have time off? Do you want to adjust your goals and make more income? Do you want to invest in something? Do you want to give back? Do you want to give away to charity? Like, there's just lots of different things that you can do with this. So Laurel's on track as well. And so she's got a spreadsheet that helps her to keep score of the cost of supplies and price it properly. And that's really, really important for those herbal product makers out there, just to have that data so that you know what's going on there. Every idea is priced out before selling anywhere. That's really, really important. Okay, we do have a question. Do I have access to the diagnostic as part of the Herbal Entrepreneur Conference? No, that's a separate thing. It's so if you have the conference VIP pass, the Herbal Business Diagnostic is just $17. So it's just you can get that as a separate product, or join the Herbal Circle. But the conference is for the conference and the bonuses that were included for the conference. All right, so we'll go back into this. We've got a couple more comments, but we're going well. Okay. We are a bit over time, but I'll try and speed things up. Okay. So we just done the accounting and the financials and then the operations. So there's a few more questions here. I'm going to just have a quick look through these. I'll just skim through it at the moment because I think it is too big to do in one workshop. But we do want to go into the insights. So if there's any big realizations that you've had so far as a result of the data that we've gone through, let us know in the comments, or like write it down on your piece of paper or whatever you're working on, just so that you're clear on that. Because of this records that you're keeping, you can look back on this as well, so that you can see when you look at the end of year, you'll be able to look back at your halfway through the year and realize where you're at and kind of what's happened the next 6 months, because we've got another half of the year to really turn things around and get where we want to go. So the second phase is further insights. So if you had to sum up this year so far in one word, what would it be? Your biggest accomplishments for your business so far this year, what's worked well, what we could have done better. We did cover this a little bit at the beginning before we got into the diagnostic. What are the most significant lessons you learned in the last year? So if you learned something in particular, let us know what that is as well. And like these insights, these questions, if you have things that come to mind, yeah, please do let me know, even if you write it on your own later and send me an email or whatever. I'm definitely interested to know. Were there any opportunities that you missed in the last 6 months? Or what sort of things could you have done? And how do you feel about your business overall right now? So now that we've got that data, and those insights, it's about looking ahead and what we've got left for the rest of the next 6 months. So what are you most excited about? Like, what opportunities do you have that are going to be presenting themselves in the next 6 months that you may be able to make the most of? Like what's exciting for you? Oh, I think I'm not going to be able to do all of these questions because we're going to run out of time. So are there any great opportunities coming up for you in the next 6 months? So examples of this could be like what Nicole was saying at the beginning of this session around the grants. So is there something that you could actually apply for to get some money to invest in your business? Is there events that you could go to? Is there a conference that you could attend that would be able to move your business forward? Are there partnerships that you could create? So this is like what Funke was saying in the beginning about creating that partnership with an herbalist that she actually did in the first 6 months, but that might be something that you could do in the next 6 months. Is there someone that you could partner with to stock your herbal products in a store? Or like I've also heard of herbalists sharing a commercial kitchen. Is there another herbalist that you could work with that you could share resources with so that you both benefit from that? Or could you make a hire? Like again, Funke was saying she wanted to hire a virtual assistant. Is there a time for her or for you to do that so that you have more time for other stuff in your business? What are 3 big things that you want to accomplish in the next 6 months to kind of round out 2020? So these can be like specific goals, as far as like maybe you have specific sales goals in mind. Maybe you have a new product line that you would like to release. Maybe it's your website. Maybe it's consistency with your online presence. Like what's something that you really want to accomplish? And this, I really, really would like to hear from you. So if you are listening on live, write in the comments, what's like, you can write as many things as we want, whether it's 1, 2, 3 or more. But like, what are the big things that you would like to accomplish in the next 6 months? And what educational resources do you need to grow your business? So what kind of things do you need to help you reach your goals? So for myself, I definitely feel like something that I lack is like professional qualifications based in Italy. I'm based in Italy, for those of you who don't know, and I really want to do a course in Italian at an Italian university to do with herbalism, and I'm going to be doing that next year. So it's not in this year plan, but it's definitely in my 2021 plan, and so that's happening. And the other part is a mentor. Like, I really want to have a mentor in person that I work with, and that's something that I'm looking at that now. Like, I would like that already, but so that's something that that it might be something different for you. What you need, it might even be equipment. Like, maybe you need to update your kitchen. Maybe you need a different water supply. Maybe you need a better stock take and inventory system. But like, so these things, like, what are your plans for the next 6 months? So I would really, really like to hear what people are planning for the next 6 months. This can be like big ideas or more than that as well. Okay. Okay, good. We're going well. So now we're into the final phase, which is the 4th phase of the diagnostic and your action plan. So we've kind of, it takes longer than an hour and a half to go through the whole herbal business diagnostic. But once you do actually answer those questions, you've done the hard work, and it's time to form that rock solid plan to follow and really work out what to do next. And I recommend doing this regularly. Some people do it every 3 months. Personally, yeah, for me, I do work in 3 months blocks, but like, I haven't actually done this since the end of 2020 because I was too busy with the conference in the middle of this quarter. So I do it roughly twice a year, but you can do it as often as you want. But as part of this phase, so we've got that data, now we're working out kind of what the action is that we're going to take as a result of this reflection process that we're doing. And this one here really is about, first of all, creating these ideas. What are your ideas of what you could be doing? So this is getting out there and really thinking more about what you can do. I just realized that I'm not sharing my screen. I thought I was. Oh dear. Okay, this is what I thought I was sharing. And so here's the achievement avalanche. So this is where you want to just get a white piece of paper and have like your everything list, your ideas of everything that you would like to achieve. Just write it down. This doesn't mean that you have to actually do everything that's on this list. It's more around getting it all out there on paper, your ideas that you have, so that you have the possibility to follow them or not. And if you don't follow them, those ideas aren't wasted, but you can refer back to them next time you do this process. So you might actually forget some of your ideas in the meantime, but then when you come back in December and go through this process again, you can think, oh, right, actually, I didn't do that and I want to do that. And you can plan to include that as part of your plan for 2021. So that's an important part. So here we just really want to have ideas of what you could be doing. So I'm just going to give a couple of ideas of what like I want to do. So like I already mentioned, I'm going to have a newborn baby for the next 6 months. So I'm going to be taking it pretty quietly. But I do have some things that I particularly want to do because I know considering my current where I'm at, I'm still going to have time at home, and I want to spend time studying and formulating products. I also want to practice creating products for babies, because I'm going to have a baby in the house. And something that I want to do towards the end of 2020 is running classes. So I'm definitely more of an in-person person, and I want to run in-person classes with people in Florence, hopefully in English at this point, because I speak Italian, but not fluently enough to teach classes. I would feel uncomfortable doing that. But there is a large English base so that I can do that. And so I want to start to create the plan of what I would teach that. Like I want to do like a beginner's herbal class, I think, and work out that. I also want to expand the Airbnb experiences that I have been doing. So at the end of last year, I was doing more of that, and I haven't done this year because it's been closed for COVID. It's just opened up now, but I can't do it because I'm too pregnant. But I definitely want to do that towards the end of this year as well again. And the other parts I have in mind. So my husband's currently doing up a self-contained apartment in the back of our house where I want to run retreats in the future. And so I want to kind of create a schedule for how that would work. So if like a couple came out to our house for 1 week, what they would do in that week, and then a little bit of a marketing plan for that as well, because I would hope that starts next year. So I would need to start planting the seeds for that now as well. And then also the products, because I want to have some products available at the classes and the experiences that I offer. So the products for me is going to be a small part of my business, but it's still something that I want to be doing a little bit of this year. So these are like kind of some of the ideas that I have. I would love to know what other people have. So what other things do other people want to work on? What do they have? What's going on? If you have any specific things that you want to work on, let me know. Okay, so we're almost finished now. Just got, yeah, we're very close to finished. Oh, we've got plans. So Gina says that she's planning to expand her farming and combine products with coaching. Now they're separate. Ah, that's interesting. So we've got a couple of people in the Herbal Circle that do this as well. And as far as the combining the consultant, or like we've got some people who have consults and offer free products as a part of that consult, or things like that like kind of, rather than seeing them as two separate domains, combining them together. And that's like a really big change as how their actual business works. So Michael wants to work on modules development for course purchases, workshops, and future retreats. Okay. I might just double check as well. Okay, that's fine. Going back to herbal consultations with clients and making custom teas. Yeah. And like for people who do have in-person consultations, I know that in most places that it's starting to happen again. So I hope that's in your area, it's starting to settle down a little bit and you're able to see clients again, because that's a big part of a lot of people's businesses. So as part of this action phase, once you do have those ideas, it's a good idea to prioritize, to work out like just a couple of them that are the most important and set goals around them. So you can be specific about what you want to do. And people are doing this. So far, they've listed 1 or 2 things that they really want to focus on. And so that's great. If you've got 1 or 2 things that you want to focus on for the rest of 2020, that's perfect. So what you want to do, when you want it done by, and how you'll be able to measure if it's completed or not. So you just want to really be able to have something to work towards and to know whether it was actually completed. Okay. So there's a couple of examples. So if you like the online presence, it might be to do with the number of followers that you have. It could be the revenue that you have, or the customers. Partnering with people. So there's like lots of different things that you might have, or the customer recurrence. There's like different ideas that you could have as far as those goals. And then what you want to do as well is actually break those goals down into projects that you can work on. So those goals, if you notice, they're the results. They're what happens, and your projects are what you work on to make them happen. So if we talk about the ones that we've had so far, maybe my goal might be to have 20 people sign up for my beginner's herbalist course in person, a 4-week course in Florence once a week. That's kind of what I want to do. That would be roughly my goal. And so then I would have projects as far as creating the course outline, creating the marketing outline, and implementing that, or something along those lines. Again, this is all part of the Herbal Business Diagnostic. So we've got like the goals, and then the projects that you work on to do that, and what sort of resources that those goals are going to take. So we'll just share my screen once more. Sorry about switching back and forth so much. Yeah. So these are the projects. So you have like that goal, and then it breaks down into the actual things that you do as a part to reach that goal, and what sort of resources it takes to get that. So there can be time and money. It might actually require more people. So if you have a bigger business, that you need people to help you to do that. And then also that stamina, the persistence to actually get it done. Some things are harder to do than others. And so there's space for several different goals there. And you can kind of choose up to 3 different areas that you're going to work on, and how that is going to help you. Okay, so finally, I do have a couple more comments, just a second. Okay. We did have questions as well. Will this be up as a replay? Yes, this one will be replayed until the end of June, basically, so that you can conduct your mid-year review. So it will be available for at least a week, basically. So there's time to watch the replay. Okay, share screen, and we'll go here. So by this point, I hope that you have a clearer answer to the question of, are you on track so far for this year? So you've got, we've kind of gone through a lot of questions, and there's a lot of stuff to think about in this workshop. This really is around getting your brain thinking and reflecting on what's been going on so far this year, and starting to think about the future so that you can create that plan and break it down into the projects. And so where you want to focus on next. So that actually brings us to the end of this workshop. But I did want to bring it to your attention that so once again, there is the Herbal Business Diagnostic that you can get all of the questions from. That's available on the website, and I'll pop that in the links as well. But tomorrow at the same time, we're actually going to be having a meeting style for Herbal Circle members and anyone who's purchased the Herbal Business Diagnostic. So this is really where we're going to, there's you'll be on camera too, and we can talk about what you've actually done this year, and go into the details of how you're going to plan out the rest of this year. And so that's going to be a more personalized approach and really getting into the nitty-gritty of what your business is at right now and how you want to plan out the rest of this year as far as the months go as well. So if you would like to attend that, and just, either sign up as an Herbal Circle member or get the Herbal Business Diagnostic, and then you'll get the details to attend that class. And then that's the important part, I think. And that one, and then before that time, if you can have a bit of a chance to really go through the questions and work out where you're at, so that we can help each other through that as well. So it's really a planning implementation workshop that builds on this one, because here we've kind of opened up the can of worms. We've got the lots of different thoughts happening inside our brains and what we've been reflecting on. But tomorrow is more about bringing it all together and creating a cohesive plan based on where you want to go from here. So if you'd like to join us for that, that would be great. You can, like I said, either join out for the Herbal Circle or get the Herbal Business Diagnostic. And that's basically it. I hope that you've got something out of today's session. Like, there's been a lot of different thoughts coming in, I think. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have any other questions or comments or anything like that, feel free to let me know. The replay will be available for a bit of time, like I said, at least a week. But yeah, the implementation will be tomorrow, and that's like live video chat. Again, if you're part of the Herbal Circle, you can just bring it up in a tea room session. That's fine. But we're going to have like a specific planning session tomorrow, which is the 25th of June at 11 a.m. Eastern. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this session. And if you have any questions or anything else, just let me know. But thank you so much for your time. And I really wish you all the best for the rest of this year and everything that you've got going on with your herbal business. So yeah, we'll stay in touch and all the best.